Everyone, and welcome as we continue our study through the New Testament, looking at the New Testament church. And today we're going to finish up Titus. Like I said when we started this, Titus is a short chapter or short book or short letter that was written to Titus from Paul. And so it's just three short chapters, so we'll finish it up today. It's Titus 3, verses 12 through 15. And again, it has a lot of names in it. I'm going to do my best with these. I always tend to butcher these no matter how much I practice them, but I just can't seem to get them out. But we'll go through these real quick. I'm planning to send either Artemis or Tychicus to you as soon as one of them arrives. Do your best to meet at Nicopolis, for I have decided to stay there for the winter. Do everything you can to help Zenos the lawyer and Apollos with their trip. See that they are giving everything they need. Our people must learn to do good by meeting the urgent needs of others, then they will not be unproductive. Everybody here sends greetings. Please give my greetings to the believers, all who love us. May God's grace be with you all. And so, again, he just finishes. It's very similar to how he finishes a lot of his letters. And so this letter really closes with news, his final exhortation, and the greetings and blessings that we see there. And so, evidently, Artemis and Tychicus would be Titus's replacement on Crete. Since Tychicus was sent to Ephesus, Artemis may have been the one who was sent to Crete. We're not 100% sure. So one of the two would have been, but it looks like it would have been Artemis. Nicopolis was several cities had this name, right? This was most likely the major city on the western coast of the Greek peninsula that you can go back and look at if you want to there. But more than likely, that's where that was. And Paul had possibly worked here before. If you look at Romans 15:19, it mentions Paul's activity even further west. So there is the possibility that could have been where he was. And again, that's the only other time that kind of hints at something like that. They were involved, Zenos and Apollos were involved in spreading the good news, and they might have been the couriers of this letter to Titus. Again, we're not 100% sure. A lot of times the people sometimes Paul would name the people carrying the letter, but sometimes it was just kind of a given that they were the ones carrying the letter, but we're not 100% sure. Again, he doesn't say. Zenos, I think is how you say that, was probably an expert in Roman law or a Roman jurist. The word for lawyer is in Luke, same as Luke 7:30 and 10:25. But his pagan name, gift of Zeus, makes it unlikely that he was an expert in Jewish law because he wasn't a Jew, and so it looks like he was a Greek, and so more than likely he was a Roman jurist or a Roman lawyer or an expert in Roman law. Apollos is presumably the same man as in Acts 18, verse 24 that we see. And then Paul finally gives this final exhortation that's connected to the responsibility to take care of them, right? And then Paul moves on and says, hey, our people must involve themselves in the life-giving ministry of the good news. They have to be productive. We don't want them to be unproductive. Rather than be unproductive, speculations of the false teacher or just spectators, right? Too much. We have too many spectators in the church today, and I don't mean that to be mean, but we do. We have a lot of churches where it's like almost like a very large percent of the church is people who just show up and kind of attend. They're there, they check some boxes, and they leave. And that's not what the church ministry should look like. That's not what the followers of Christ should look like. And then he finishes it with you all, meaning the letter was addressed to Titus, right? But the whole church was the audience for the letter. And this is how these would always run. Paul would write a letter to like Titus or Timothy, but the letter was to be read aloud to the entire church for everyone to hear. And so that's how they would do that. So that is to finish up Titus. Tomorrow we will finish up or start up, I'm sorry, Second Timothy, and just look at the first 1 and 1 through 2. And I'll be honest with you, Second Timothy is kind of a sad letter because it is the last letter written by Paul, and that we see shortly before his death. And so it's, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away from it. We'll look at that tomorrow. But it is. I've been studying through it and going through it, and when you realize, like I've talked about with us going through this in a timeline, right, and in chronological order in the Bible, it really does hit different when you're reading through Second Timothy, knowing, like, especially when you put yourself in Paul's shoes, this is the last letter that he's writing, and this is the last we're going to hear from him. And so we've been studying him for many months now. And And so it's kind of hard to, once you've done that, to now go, hey, that's it from Paul. So we'll dive into that tomorrow, look at that. As always, I hope y'all are learning something from these. I hope you're picking something up from them. And I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That way you can continue to follow along with us and see the things that, not only these studies that we do, but things we're going to plan and do in the future as well. So as always, appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.